Welcome to beautiful sunny Florida. And in this video, I'm going to give my top 10 reasons why every mountain biker should consider riding gravel. If you're a road cyclist, you'll probably get something out of this video as well. A couple things I want to throw out there before I get into the video. One is you don't need to go out and buy a gravel bike. That's not what I'm emphasizing here. If you want to test it out, you can do it on your mountain bike, or you can do it on a road bike with bigger tires, 25, 28C tires. The other thing is I realize not everyone has access to gravel roads. Fortunately, I live in an area where gravel roads are everywhere, but not everybody has that ability. If you have a trailhead that you can drive to, you probably will have some gravel roads nearby. So again, just want to throw those out there before I start getting into my top 10 reasons. Reason number one is improved fitness. Riding on gravel is a more consistent type riding. When you're mountain biking, a lot of times you're pedaling real hard and then letting off, pedaling hard, letting off, pedaling hard. When you're on gravel, you're able to hold a consistent effort, and it's also easier to do intervals. So if you race, even if you don't race, intervals can be good to really improve your fitness. It's a lot easier to do intervals on a gravel road, whether you're using a heart rate monitor, a power meter, or just using your perceived exertion. You can really do like 5-minute efforts, 10-minute efforts, even 2 or 3-minute efforts, I find are easier on gravel roads. Now, of course, if you're a mountain biker and you have a road bike, you already know the consistency that comes with riding on the road. Reason number two is it adds a new dimension to your cycling. It's a different type of riding. I live in an area where I have a couple really good trailheads. One's 10 minutes from my house, one's about 50 minutes from my house. But I end up riding the same trails all the time. I'm not complaining about that, but having a gravel road mixed in with my trail riding really just throws in a different dimension to my cycling. Reason number three is it allows you to keep riding when the trails are wet. In a lot of areas, riding on wet trails can damage the trails. It puts ruts in the trails. The general rule is if you can look behind you and see your tire marks in mud, it's too wet to ride. Now, I know there are areas like in British Columbia where it stays wet a lot of times. Those trails can actually handle wetter conditions. But if you live in an area where it's just going to damage the trails when you ride, stay off the trails and go ride some gravel roads. You can still ride and not damage the trails. Reason number four, you get to see new scenery. I love the scenery that I get on my gravel rides. I ride by farms and barns, and I see houses and roads that I've never seen before and that you would never see if you were just sticking to the trails. And that kind of ties back to my second reason. It kind of helps you from getting bored with your typical trail system. Reason number five is exploration. It adds a different type of exploration to your cycling. I love sitting down at the computer and mapping out some crazy route on Ride with GPS or Garmin Connect or whatever app you use. Those map software typically can't follow trails. They stick to roads. So using those to plan out a route and find areas that you've never ridden before and try to find roads that connect. I've gotten to intersections that, Google Maps said there was a road and it just completely dead-ended. There was no way. I just had to backtrack. Then I hit those rides where you just find these awesome killer roads that you never knew about. And getting out and exploring on these gravel roads can help you do that. Number six is there's really a feeling of accomplishment you get when you put in more miles. You can put in a lot more miles on a gravel road than you could on a trail. For example, there's a trail that I do up in Asheville, North Carolina called Laurel Mountain. The first 3 miles are so brutal that it takes like 45 minutes to do the first 3 or 4 miles. You think you've been riding for hours or for like 25 miles. You look at your computer and you've ridden 4 miles. Just the opposite on gravel roads. To go out and do a 30 or 40 or 70, 80, 100, whatever your goal is, there's just that feeling of accomplishment of getting in those miles. Reason number 7 is it keeps you from driving to start your ride. If you mountain bike, chances are you don't have trails right behind your house. If you do, you're lucky. But you don't have to necessarily get in your car and drive somewhere to start your ride. And I love that. I love heading out right from my garage and doing a 4-hour ride on gravel roads. Number 8 is it may give you a whole new group of people to ride with. Gravel riding, I found, is kind of a middle ground. between the mountain bike community and the road community. There's a lot of road cyclists that do gravel, a lot of mountain bikers that do gravel, and you can meet some new people and get out on some rides and have a discussion. A lot of times when you're mountain biking, it's kind of hard to have a conversation. Usually on the gravel road, you can ride 2 by 2 and carry on a conversation. So it helps you be social, helps you get out and meet new people. Reason number 9 that I came up with is it's less maintenance. Mountain bikes require suspension maintenance and they take a little bit more of a beating. Not that I mind, I love mountain biking, and I'm a mountain biker first and foremost. That's my #1 cycling passion. But gravel bikes, cyclocross bikes are really easy to work on. There's typically no suspension. The disc brakes, and a lot of them have Di2 mechanical, and it's just so such a low maintenance type bike. And reason number 10, it's an excuse to get a new bike. Now I know that goes against my simplicity video where I talked about why I sold my gravel bike and just stick with my cyclocross bike. That's because of the area that I ride in. 95% of the time, cyclocross bike is just as good. But I know there's a lot of y'all out there who like buying new bikes, and maybe it's an excuse to get a new bike. A couple tips I want to leave you with as I wrap up the video. First of all, if you're only a mountain biker, you don't do any road biking, do about 75% of the time that you normally ride a mountain bike. So if you typically ride an hour and a half, your first gravel ride, only do maybe an hour to an hour and 15 minutes because that consistency, you're putting a little bit stress on different parts of your body, maybe your neck, your back, your IT band. So don't go out and try to equal the time that you spend on a mountain bike on the gravel ride just for the first couple, just so you get used to it. And like I said at the beginning of the video, you don't have to go out and buy a new bike. Try it on the bike you have. Talk to people in your area, talk to bike shops, see what kind of bike works best for gravel road riding. It could be a cross-country hardtail mountain bike is the best. It could be cyclocross bikes are the best, like in my area. It could be that a gravel bike is the best. But get out there, see if you like it, then do some research and see what type of bike works best in your area. So that's it for this video. I've got several others that kind of relate to this topic that I'll link in the description below if you want to check those out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and if it was helpful for you, give it a thumbs up for me. Thanks for watching.